Come on in, man. Let's get this thing going, man. Your boy G Bush in the building. You know what it is. G Bush is here. We got some breaking news, man. Boys and girls, we got some breaking news today. Jarvis Landry has signed with the New Orleans Saints. So, I figured, we teased this on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show a little bit. We were talking about it a lot. And then I'm definitely going to get to this on the barbershop in more of a greater detail. But you know how I do. If it's breaking news and it's about the Cleveland Browns, we got to go ahead, get yourself up and get it going. You know what I'm saying? And we got to definitely go ahead and talk about this situation. So for me, this is kind of a bittersweet situation because when Jarvis Landry got cut, right, at the end of the season, it was almost like a situation where it was a foregone conclusion because there was little strife with him and Baker Mayfield. There was the awkward situation with Mary Kay Cabot where she goes to his, Thanksgiving charity event and asked him some questions because he basically said he was not going to be talking to the media anymore after Odell Beckham Jr. got traded, after that whole thing transpired or whatever the case may be. And Jarvis was just, to me, that hit him to his core, right? And so after that, he stopped really talking about the situation. And a lot of people don't know. Sometimes, I get inside information concerning, from either guys or players that reach out to me. I really don't ever say nothing to nobody because I'm an opinion-based guy. And, when you're doing opinion-based stuff, you're not the person that's supposed to be breaking these stories. Like, people will say, well, who's your sources? And that's not my lane. You know what my lane is. My lane is giving opinions, right? And so people had reached out to me and basically said that Jarvis stopped speaking in the media because he was uncomfortable. He was mad about what was going on inside the locker room. Him and Baker weren't getting along on the best terms. And a lot of people in the locker room felt that Odell Beckham Jr., especially Jarvis Landry, that being his best friend, basically were sacrificial lambs. They were sacrificial lambs to whatever the case may be. And Jarvis Landry, said, I'm going to be a professional about it. Mary Kay asked him about it. And he was frustrated. He said, I really don't know why I'm not getting the ball or other people are getting the ball or whatever the case may be. And for me, it was all downhill from there. So I thought that, they were going to go into the situation and definitely go ahead and cut ties. But then everything changed because once again, inside information, I had it as a fact that Jadeveon Clowney was not a guy that was thinking about coming back. The only thing that got us to this point with Jarvis Landry or Jadeveon Clowney was the fact that Deshaun Watson is on his team. And they understand how good of a person, how good of a quarterback that dude is, and he can get them to a place where they thought Baker Mayfield couldn't. So even though the bridges were not totally sunk, but the bridges was almost kind of burned a little bit after, Jarvis left. Once he got wind of it and was like, okay, well, let me rethink this situation. Because I'm going to tell you what, Jarvis Landry still thinks that he's a guy who is an elite receiver in this league. And when he said he was wanting $20 million a year, I was like, hey, man, I've been lobbying for you, dog. But we can't give you 20, dog. We can't give you 20. We can put a little something on it. We put a little something on Jarvis, but we can't. It's a little steep for me. So they come back to the table. Not a lot of other guys around the league was interested in bringing him in either at that price tag. So the Saints ended up being a team that really picked him up, and it makes sense because he's an LSU guy. He's a Louisiana guy. He's going back home to so to speak. And I think what happened was just he couldn't bring himself to come to terms with it, right? I think he thinks he has a lot more left in the tank. And I think for his pride, I don't think he feels like he could go back into that locker room and be part of an organization that, said that he wasn't as valuable as he should have been at $15 million or whatever the case may be. So when you look at this, I thought this was something that we talked about a while. I thought there was actually a good chance that Jarvis gets an opportunity to come back, and I was advocating for the move. However, here's the problem. It's not as if Jarvis Landry gives us the things that we lack at, right? Some of the things that we want out of a receiver are explosiveness, deep ball threat, can be a home run hitter. All those things aren't what Jarvis excels at. And I got some stuff here later on in the show where I'll give you some slides and I'll give you, how you quantify that and to point exactly why it's kind of obvious why the Browns kind of moved on. But before we do that, I want to make sure 41 people in here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button, support the Browns content. You know what I do. I don't care how many jobs I got. I'm always going to give it to the people. I got to drop it on the barbershop. People used to ask me, is the barbershop stopping? No, bro. We ain't going nowhere, bro. We still do what we do. We still do what we do, preferably. Let's get back. Let's get to some of these comments real quick before I go into my diatribe, right? Let's check out some cats, man. Let's see. Hey, the Turner family says, I figured that this is where he would land back at home. I agree. Bear Theater, what's up, everybody? He just had to come in and just make himself known. I'm in the building. Shout out to Bear. You were here. Chris Yarden is in that building. Let's go. Let's go. Browns 11 wins this year. And by the way, we will play the schedule game. I'm going to do a live and we'll go through some schedule stuff and we'll get to that as well. And I think this sums it up really great for me. Pee Wee the Great says, bittersweet for me, man. Happy for Jarvis going home, but sad that he didn't work, that he didn't want to come back. I think he wanted to come back. I don't think he wanted them to come back at the number that they wanted him to. And when he turned down reportedly 10 million, I said, yeah, I think it's just a little pride involved because 10 million is a little bit more than I would have gave him. So I thought they did a great job in trying to like give him an olive branch or something, but I ain't sure. Karen Phillips, as always, appreciate you you be checking in everywhere. You be everywhere on the internet. Every time I post something, you be showing me love. I shout out to you. I see you in the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show chat. Really appreciate it, man. You're there for the Cavs. I really appreciate that. Jarvis was my favorite player, and I loved the show today. Hey, man, I did too. I thought this was the best show we had today. Shout out to Adam the Bull, Jay Crawford, Brad Sellers, Mike Polk, Tavis Powell. Man, we've been over here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and we've been having a blast. We've been having a blast, man. It's refreshing because the one thing I think that sets the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show aside from a lot of people is we getting top flight guests. Like today, DeQuell Jackson. Today, Greg Newsom. We had Greg Newsom, so he was here. Last week we had Tim Couch. Bernie Kosar was in studio, so the Miz was on. So don't get it twisted, man. We got some really nice guests, and next week, if you ain't had an opportunity to catch your show, next week is the week you want to catch it. We got Maurice Claret in the building, in the flesh. Aditi Kigwala is going to be on as well. She's going to be in the building. So she's on set. So if you want to, get some of these A-list names, we working on a lot of other big names too. This is the place you should be watching, man. We definitely bring in the heavy hitters. Definitely get to that, man. So let me get here. And by the way, if you want to donate, you can donate on Cash App at $GBush91. Donate on Cash App $GBush91. You can also, that's a couple of ways to support on YouTube. If you want to send a super chat, we definitely appreciate that. I think it's a new thing. It's called like super letters or something. I don't know. Either way, if you ain't trying to do that, all you got to do is support by hitting that like button. That's it. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get all of the updates of the barbershop. You don't want to miss it during football season. Let's get into this real quick. I want to talk about what you are going to be missing. Let me make sure that's a little bigger. Here we go. Maybe I can go full screen. Full screen. There we go. I want to take a look at this. And if you look at it, you can make that a little bit bigger. Let's take a look at what they're missing in Jarvis Landry. So Jarvis Landry was a guy who, through the first 6 years, had caught the most passes of anyone. One of the things his strong suit is catching the football. it's one of those things of him getting being able to move and use movement and footwork and body positioning to beat defensive backs and to maneuver himself to making some of the catches that he makes. So if you go back and look into his production from the start in 2014, he was always productive. Even as a rookie, he had 84 grabs. That's a lot for a rookie, man. 5 touchdowns, almost 800 yards, right? He comes back with that in 2015, and people don't realize how productive he is. He missed 2 games that year, but still 110 catches, 1100, almost 1200 yards, again 4 touchdowns. And at this point in time, you got to remember he was actually returning punts, and he was a guy who was electric in returning punts too. 2016 with the Dolphins, come back another 94 catches for 1,100 yards, right? And then in 2017, he goes again for 112 receptions. He didn't get 1,000, right? He had about 987, just fell shy of the 1,000-yard mark in 2017. But take a look at the touchdowns. 9 touchdowns in 2017. So, when he was in Miami, those first 4 years, he was prolific, especially when it came to getting targets and catching the football. The Browns go out and get him in 2018. And like most people realize, this is where he kind of took off. This is where the Browns started having enough cachet. He was the first real player, the first real dude with some talent that the Browns went after. That was a neighborhood guy. A guy had a name for himself in all the living rooms because he was a dude that was putting up work. And the Browns were the first team to actually, the first time in so many years that the Browns actually went after a guy that we even knew who it was. So that year, 81 catches, 976 yards, only the 4 touchdowns. But to be honest with you, that 976 really transformed our team, our season. He was a bona fide number 1 guy. You go to 2020, that's where, some say Baker had his best year, especially at the end. He ended up putting up 840 yards during that time period. He was a little banged up. He had surgery after that year. 2021, he had surgery after that year too. Last year was his worst year of his career in terms of production. 52 receptions, 570 yards, and only 2 touchdowns. But you also have to go and take in consideration who's at quarterback. You also have to look at the fact that he had been hurt, injured, and he had surgery and came back and was not 100%. So this is the production level that you're getting. But one of the things that the Browns are looking at is take a look at like his production falling every single year. Going back to 2017, you go from 112 receptions to 81 to 72 to 52. And you had surgery after the 2021 season and the 2020 season. So the Browns are looking at it as a situation like, hey, man, we are going to have to get younger. We don't like your cap number, which is like 15 million. So anytime you're getting older, you have injuries and you got a huge cap number as far as how much they owe you, that the writing's on the wall a little bit. Writing's on the wall a little bit, bro. Let's get back to some of the comments. Here you go. Let's see what we got. What up, Darko? He said a lot of people talk about the NFL suspending Watson, but no one talks about what the NFLPA would do if Watson is found not guilty in any one of the civil cases and Watson is suspended. That I kind of did that that topic probably a couple of days ago. If you want to check that blog out, go check that out because I really talked about that a little bit. I don't understand why people consistently feel like there's no ramifications and it's just supposed to be like, hey, suspend them now. Just get it over with. I'm like, easy for you to do. Easy for you to say when your life ain't on the line or your reputation or a bunch of money that you're going to lose in lawsuits. Of course, it's easy for us to sit here and say that. But I totally agree with you. When the schedule came out, everybody's, well, how many games do you think the Browns win with Deshaun? Or how many days do you think they win without him? I'm like, I don't know what kind of crystal ball y'all got, or if you got Roger Goodell, on speed dial. But last time I checked, I haven't seen any trials. They telling me the trial ain't even going on until next year. So I don't know about no mythical suspension. So I'm operating as if the dude's gonna play. The dude's gonna play. So I'm going to do something. I'm building up to something here. So you got Jarvis Landry, right? We looked at his stats and his production. And when you look at his stats and production, you actually think like, wow, is this guy like a athletic monster, or how is he doing that? If you really look at it and you look at what his athletic skill set is, he wins with just being like a dog. He wins with, I'm gonna run Chris routes. I'm gonna be meticulous of how I go about it. And I just play with this chip on my shoulder and I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So look at if we talk about let me take this. Okay. If you talking about Jarvis Landry and what kind of ability he had. Now, when you look at his strictly athleticism, it ain't there. It is not there. Let me take this off real quick. I'm gonna take this off so y'all can see it. All right, here we go. That's much better. Let's get back into that so y'all can see that. Look, here we go. That's much better. So when you look at his stats, they ain't that crazy, right? So this is an article from Bleacher Report that says Jarvis Landry is a guy who's going to be a top flight receiver despite not having great measurables in the draft. Heading into the pre-draft season, LSU receiver Jarvis Landry was one of the most promising prospects. However, he followed that up with a series of bad workouts beginning at the scouting combine. That may have harmed his draft stock. Landry had the worst 40 time among receivers at the combine. He ran a 4.77 in the 40. Now, before I read the rest of the article, just to put it in perspective, that 4.77 is not faster than linebacker JOK. It's not faster than Myles Garrett. It's not faster than Jadeveon Clowney. I could keep going if you would like me to, but that is not a fast time at all. His vertical leap was the second worst at the position. He blamed the poor 40 time on a pull hamstring, and then did not participate in the drills. And I'm not going to get to the bottom part, but he didn't even improve on it in his pro day. So, but that I'm not reading this to take a shot at Jarvis Landry. I'm just reading this to let you know that you don't have to be a 4.4, 4.3, 4.2 guy to be very productive in this league and be able to get the most out of your ability. And Jarvis Landry is a guy who perennially has done that, being a 5-time Pro Bowler and looking at what his numbers look like. So that obviously is something that we take in consideration of looking at his production, matching that with his athletic ability, and then looking at some other things to figure out how you can go about replacing Jarvis Landry. So let's get to this. David Bell is a name to watch out for. And, I'm honest with it. I'm honest, and I'll tell you, at first when I saw David Bell from Purdue, I went and I checked out, maybe 1 or 2 minutes of the highlight. I don't know nobody from Purdue. Because the draft happens, you telling yourself, all you thinking is Garrett Wilson. You thinking Olave, Sky Moore. You thinking of Pickens. Those are the names that you throwing around in your head. The kid Watson from North Dakota State. All of those dudes go in your head. So now when you see a David Bell guy, you're like, I want no doggone David Bell. I've been looking at Garrett Wilson and Olave for the doggone hold on season. Why would I be doing that? So what you do is you kind of discount what he can bring to the table. And if you look at it, his numbers not only are comparable to what Jarvis Landry's were at the combine and what he does physically, but they are better in most cases. So let's take a look at this. So when you see this, and let me move this here. Here we go. So it says, unfortunately, Bell did not have his best combine. On top of the fact he wasn't as physically impressive as he listed measurables were with Purdue. He failed to crack the 4.6 seconds in the 40, Bell stock may be starting to fall just a bit, which is good for the Indianapolis Colts. So this is an article from the Colts, and I think the Indianapolis Colts were looking at him as a potential target that could be on the board when they were drafting when this was written. So he says Bell's tape with the Boilermakers makes him look like a perfect candidate to go high in the second round. So as you can see, a lot of people had a high second round pick on this guy. And the Colts could have a steal and a major discount if they pick him in the middle of day 2. In some ways, his poor combine could be a blessing in disguise for Indy. I think this is a blessing in disguise for the Browns because ultimately we got him in the 3rd round. See what I'm saying? It wasn't even the 2nd. We ultimately got him in the 3rd round. And then Charlie Clifford on Twitter says, wide receiver David Bell's first 40-yard dash, 4.64, and then posted a 4.62 on his second run. Now, let's be clear. Those numbers aren't blazing. Those numbers are nowhere near Tyreek Hill. They're not, I mean, heck, they ain't with none of the fast twitch guys at receiver. But it's sure better than what? It's sure as heck better than that 4.7. 4.77 is defensive end speed. That's what Jarvis Landry was working with. But guess what? That just goes to show you. It's not all about what your blazing speed is in underwear and shorts and tight spandex. That ain't what it is. You got to run that same speed when you catch the ball and get out of your breaks. You got to run that same speed when you got to step on the toes and make those defensive backs bail, and you can put your foot in the ground, stop, come back at a drop of a dime. Those are all things that you can do. It don't take you to do 4.2 or 4.3 to do it. You could do that with a solid 4.6, but you got to be a surgeon. You got to be tactical. You got to be a strategic and definitely deliberate in your movements. So we just working towards something. We working towards something. But before we work towards something, let's get back to this. Make sure you hit that like button. 85 people watching right now. Salute to you guys, man. I appreciate you guys, man. 85 people checking in. Please hit that like button. You can also donate on PayPal, $GBush91. Super chat is available as always. So let's get to some of your comments really quickly before we get to some of David Bell's stats, because I think he has an elite production. Elite. See. This was a coach's draft. Those picks were for Stefanski and Woods. Pretty foolish. All right. We've seen too many, Soul Train _ says, we've been seeing too many 4.3 guys get taken too early. That becomes bust. I'm just going to say, we got a dude on our roster that might be the fastest dude in the league. Anthony Schwartz is Olympic fast, but he don't be open like that. Anthony Schwartz be moving, his form all good. Form good. You know how they say, hey, when you real fast, you be real, you be relaxed, but you be moving. He got 4.1, 4.2. Let him run a post route doing that. Oh. Which way did he go? Which way did he go, George? Well, speaking of speed, you might want to get your life together, bro. Send that man to a passing camp. Send him to the Ryan Day's passing camp. Good gracious, that boy. I don't even think he be knowing where he be at out there. I'm like, come on, Schwartzy. Come on. All you doing is running a jet motion. He out there. You ever see a dude that don't know his plays? Everybody done played in high school with a guy that just didn't know they play. You'd be like, hey, he hit you. He hit you real silent, like y'all at the phone at home, and he asked you, do we got homework because he missed school? They'd be so nonchalant with it. They'd be like, hey, what do I do on this play? You're like, bro, I'm a left guard. I don't know what receivers do on this play. Oh, I was just checking. I'll ask somebody else. Thanks. Bro, if you don't get on the line of scrimmage and stop playing. If Schwartz could run routes like Landry, he could be the next Tyreek Hill. If Anthony Schwartz so fast, if he run routes like Jarvis Landry, he gonna be Jerry Rice. He gonna be Deion Sanders. He gonna be Randy Moss. He gonna be whatever the heck he want. If he run routes like that, I'll call him whatever he want to. He could be Mr. Magoo for all I know. Who cares? You call me Tom. Tom from Tom and Jerry. Shannon Green, hey G, I live in Las Vegas watching games every weekend. Mike Wood would be better than Cooper. Let's get into it. Oh, by the way, if you know, you know. Shout out to my man Jeremy. That ACG hoodie is quite fresh, my guy. See, what y'all don't be understanding. See, I like that. Cats like you be picking up what I'm putting down. They just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what ACG is. I've never heard of that. Maybe it's one of those Illuminati things. You think it's QAnon or something? No. Let's get back to it, man. Back to it. So we working towards something. David Bell. He's a guy you should be looking out for. He's a surprisingly good athlete. He's a surprisingly good athlete. When you watch and you watch his game tape, he catches the ball, but don't be really like running him down. He does what he needs to do to get in and out of breaks. He's made some spectacular catches, and he's surprisingly a good athlete. And when the numbers confirm it, because his numbers are better than Jarvis's, to be honest with you. So he's a surprisingly good athlete, and it just doesn't stop there. I think Bell had elite production at Purdue. When I say elite, he's putting up, NFL numbers. Mind you, NFL guys are playing 17 games. You know what I'm saying? College guys are getting 11 games, 12 games, 13, maybe if you get into the college football playoff. That's if you make it all the way to the playoff. But in terms of what his production is, you're going to be like, dang, this dude is balling. Let's get to it. So when you look at his production, I don't like that look. Let's do that again. Here we go. So when you look at his production, take a look at what David Bell is giving you. 6'2", so that means I think he's a bigger player than Jarvis. 6'2", 210. These are his 2021 stats. This dude had 93 receptions. 93 in college. That's 100 receptions in college. You don't understand how hard that is. Because can you tell me who's the quarterback of Purdue? I thought so. You getting that many catches, to be honest with you, it's hard pressed to even get your coach to even let you get that many targets. If he got 93 receptions, how many times was he targeted? College coaches, they do this kind of funny stuff where it's like they do a lot of holding you back, right? They're all, nah, we ain't gonna let you get too big out here. Like if you got 50, 60 catches, half the season is over. I've seen coaches be like, nah, I'm hating on this. You ain't about to be out here just catching all these footballs. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Get that man the rock. 93 receptions, that's 100 in college. 1,286 receiving yards. And I said, he's not the fastest dude in the world. He's not the biggest dude in the world, but that just goes to show you he's breaking off a lot of chunk plays. 6 total touchdowns. His PFF grade was 87.5. And so you can see with the production mixed with the fact that he's a sneaky good athlete, you can see why people are excited about him possibly being a guy that can replace Jarvis Landry. Now, don't get it twisted. Am I saying, G. Bush, you're saying David Bell is going to be great? And if he come out here and don't do nothing all season, you come back and say, see, this is what I'm talking about. You media guys just hype everybody up. Everybody is good. I didn't say that. If it was me, I would prefer Jarvis to come back. I was one of the first persons to say, come on back. But I also have to understand at the same time that you got to get younger at some point. You got to give some. Jarvis Landry is Jarvis Landry because Miami gave him opportunity. David Bell might be a upgraded version or a better version or even the same production as as a Jarvis Landry. But he has to have the production. And so when you go into rookie mini camps, the thing that I think they're trying to say is, look, we got these young boys. If I got the young boys under asset and I got them signed and locked up, he's going to be here for 4 years. We can continuously keep that dude under wraps. And and it's cheaper labor. I can use David Bells. I can use Demetric Feltons. I can use those guys, Anthony Schwartz. I can use those with my quarterback to really augment what I'm trying to do offensively. And then you pay your big guys. Denzel Ward, paid. Joe Batonio, paid. Teller, paid. Myles Garrett got paid. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt got paid. Deshaun Watson got paid. See what I'm saying? You see the pattern here. But you can't have an all-star every position, though. I keep telling them, why can't you can't have an all-star every position? We already stacked. What else you want? What else you want? Let's get to this really quick. We talked about his production. Let's get to the simple fact that let's look what the depth chart looks like right now. I don't think people do this enough. I think you should look at the depth chart to really kind of see who's here, who's making a move. Some of the names we might have forgotten in the fray. They got left in the wash. So I'm gonna get to all these depth charts. These are guys that are undrafted rookie free agents, guys that are on the roster that we forgot was on the roster at the end of last year that carry over, and on top of it, the new guys they brought in. So looking at this depth chart, I'm going to make that a little bigger. I'll do that. Y'all need to see my face. There we go. All right, so let's get to this depth chart. By the way, shout out to y'all out there. 125 people in the building right now, man. Shout out to y'all for showing me that love, bro. 125. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. Let's get to the receivers. So at the left, I wouldn't worry about left and right receiver. Like that's just whatever the case may be. But when you talk about your dominant number one receiver, you got Amari Cooper. And I think Donovan Peoples-Jones will be lined up at that second receiver. I think right now it's his job to lose. And he is a dude that I think the coaching staff loves. They love how, he's a humble. I met him a couple times. He's a solid dude. He's a really cool dude, and he works hard, ain't doing nothing crazy in these streets. So I think they're going to start off with him as the second receiver. Let's go to on the depth chart. Right now, they have Anthony Schwartz. They got Jamarcus Bradley there too. Now, the person that is not on this list, and I'm trying to find out where the heck they are, is we just talked about my man from Purdue. Where are you at? They might have not updated this yet, but here we go. Here it is. So this is the slot. So right now, if everything it was to go as planned, he's already in here as the starting slot receiver, already plugged in. I really want to know what they're going to do with Jakeem Grant. His speed, to me, somebody asked me, said, G. Bush, is this guy a new version of Tyreek Hill? And for me, I always tell people Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill because his coaching staff found out that he was that fast, and they developed an offense where they consistently said, we are going to make a conscious effort to get him the ball. That's why sometimes when the whole Odell Beckham Jr. thing happened and say you're forcing him in, forcing the ball to him, I'm like, you know what, guys? That's your job to force it to him. What are you talking about? Like, that's your job to get the playmakers involved, right? Show them off a little bit. That's like if you got a hot wife or something. You got a hot wife and you make her wear baggy clothes and jeans. She looked like she in a grunge band, like she did covers for Nirvana or something. Don't have her out here in that Alanis Morissette gear. She been working out. She go to Zumba. She do cardio. She be working out to it. She vegan. She don't eat no bad food. And you got her locked up in the house wearing sweatpants all the doggone time. Come on, bro. What you got her for? You might as well go get somebody ugly. You get you a big girl then if you ain't gonna let her breathe. So Jakeem Grant is a dude where he fast, but you find ways to get him the ball so he can accent and use that speed. Not just, he's fast, let's put him on kick return. It's up to the coaching staff to be creative and to instill some sort of confidence in the guys to be bold and say, hey, this guy is super duper fast. What can we do? Anthony Schwartz is super duper fast. What ways can we get them involved in the offense? And if they can't run Chris routes, who cares? Find a way to do jet sweeps, reverse sweeps, motion, run play action off the motion. All those things are things that you need to do to get guys who aren't going to be an Amari Cooper who is a bona fide number one. Sometimes these dudes ain't never going to be a number one. They're going to be threes and fours. So Jamarcus Bradley is another guy who's been on this roster. They just keep bringing him back. Just keep bringing him back. Javon Wims is a guy right here. Michael Woods the second is the guy that is from Oklahoma. He's a transfer from Arkansas too. So I like him. He has some decent upside. He got a bigger frame, big body. You got a guy like Mike Harley, who's another free agent young guy that came in. Travell Harris, and the guy I'm really this Isaiah Weston, big kid, 6'3", runs a 4.4. Played at a small school, Northern Iowa. Played at Northern Iowa in that division, and he's a guy that people can look at as a project. But I like his raw materials. Love his raw materials. And then really quickly before we go ahead and jump back on the other screen, look at Demetric Felton down here on the bottom right hand corner. Demetric Felton, to me, they have him listed as a running back, but to me, he's a slash guy, running back slash receiver. So I'm wondering, one of the camp battles that I'm really looking forward to is the running back battle, because they can't keep all these people. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson, all three of those guys are starting running backs other places. All three of them, starters. Jerome Ford, I'm the highest on. I think I might be the highest on him out of any of the rookies. Just for the simple fact that when you look at this dude, this guy he is tremendous. I mean, out of Cincinnati, this ain't no small school Rudy story where we just giving guys a shot. No, go back and watch them games. This dude can run. He can catch the football. He got good vision, and he gets out on you. He hits another gear when you get to that secondary. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to make this team. So if he going to make it, who ain't? Because Demetric Felton is a receiver. He can play special teams. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go about trying to figure out who they're going to have a running back. 142 in the chat. Y'all catch us crazy. Love y'all to death, man. 142 people in the chat. You guys just consistently just work with me on that, man. Here, boom. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, I think so. Let's take a look at some of the questions. Let's get back to some of those, man. You guys are crazy. Man, these dudes, you guys are so awesome. Let me check get back on these super chats again. Let's go. Let's see. Oh, here we go, man. Mark Kahn, thank you so much. I appreciate you, my brother. Sup, G Bush? Love your stuff and insight. Congrats on your recent success. Switch phones. So he back at so he I'm like, how do you say that? Switch phones. So he had to add you back. Okay, that's all good. I was trying to figure out what you were saying. But thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everyone. People always talk about that new show. The only reason I'm on that new show is because y'all. I mean, to be honest with you, man, people just, every time I do a show, hey, we want G Bush one more time. Anytime y'all see me other places, hey, I get you a show. So without y'all, there's no way I really could do that, man. Soul Train _ thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. Many gave the Browns a draft to C, but a C hit different when you got a quarterback, O-line, and number one receiver. Are you getting more optimistic as we get closer to week one? Sure am. I'm getting super optimistic as we go to week one. You know why? Because if they don't have a suspension on Deshaun Watson, let me just paint a picture for you. Amari Cooper would have been your best receiver on this roster last year, right? He's on our roster now. Think about it. He would have been our best receiver last year. You've got that man now. Think about what you can run offensively that you weren't able to run before. Think about it. all the RPOs. Run pass option only works if you can run. All of the bootlegs, all of the scramble opportunities, all of the play action opportunities for shot plays. Because now, if you're a backside defensive end, and they run boot opposite of you, but they got the jet motion coming back towards you, what do? You can't run down and scream down the line of scrimmage trying to tackle Chubb or Hunt or Dearness Johnson. You know why? Because you got backside contained responsibilities. So if you take a step inside, either the jet motion guy, Anthony Schwartz, or some of these faster guys, they can get the ball. If you step in one step, they've already outflanked you. They're too fast for all that. Also, it works the same way on bootlegs or read options. If you crash down, Deshaun Watson is too good of an athlete. You're done. It don't matter if you recovered. You're done. So think about all the different ways, and we haven't even talked about the screen game off of some of these things. So that's why the Browns are so dangerous. And to get back and bring it home to Jarvis Landry, sure, I would have loved him have him back. But in reality, when you got a great quarterback, your quarterback is supposed to make other people better. That includes young players. When we give you $230 or $240 million, there's a level of expectation that you're going to deliver X, Y, and Z. And those quarterbacks that have, Peyton Manning's of the world, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady's, the list, Aaron Rodgers, the list goes on and on and on and on. All those guys. Those guys make people better. They make people better, no matter if they're rookies, undrafted guys, or superstars, right? So I'm really optimistic on what's going on, because I truly believe that, if Deshaun Watson's able to play, it's going to open up a whole lot of different stuff, man. Whole lot of stuff, man. Let's see. Jacob Carson, Saints probably could have gotten a dependable running back before Jarvis before Jarvis Landry, though, because Alvin Kamara could face prison times. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Alvin Kamara. But you know how they feel about running backs, though. They feel like they can get a running back anywhere. They feel like they can get a running back anywhere. Karen says, I love MG, Perrion Winfrey, DB. I think that's David Bell. Are my favorite players. I looked at David Bell video season. It's going to be fire. Totally agree. And by the way, Kid Wilson 33, I'm with you. I liked John Kelly last year. He is a throwback. He looked like he got elbow pads on. You know how players don't really wear no pads. He still got thigh board pads. I'm like, where he get knee pads from? He just looked like he looked like he John Riggins or something, man. He looked like a throwback, just right on out of like 1986 NFL films. The Washington Redskins. Just looking, he looks nasty, and not in a good way. Amen. Nasty. You do something with your knee pads, man. Do something with your knee. Love the hot wife analogy. Right? That's like, come on, you're messing your wife's mental health up. You got her thinking she fat. That your wife look great. You got her out here wearing velour jumpsuits in the summer. What the heck is wrong with y'all, man? The heck is wrong with y'all peoples, man? Man, you guys are crazy, man. But before we get on out of here, I want to announce something. Boom, let's get to this. Subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Trust me. See, the thing that makes us dope, man, we getting A-list guys. Come on now. We getting A-list guys. If you want to know Joe Thomas, if you want to talk, all the A-listers we getting. Make sure you subscribe to Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube every single Monday through Friday. G. Bush, Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull. We got Brad Sellers on the show. Tavis Powell is on the show. Mike Polk Jr. is on the show. We got a lot of special guests coming up in the studio, so make sure you hit that so you can be up on top when we drop in all of that fire content. And you already know what I do. I never stop working. See, I caught a lot of y'all dudes. Man. You know why? It's because, hey, if you gonna get on the radio and then go home and not do nothing, that's on y'all. I'm gonna get on the radio and come back here and talk to the people. You know what? You want to be on TV, and you just go. No, I'm gonna go be on TV, and then I'm gonna come on back. Get with y'all. We ain't stopping nothing. Barbershop never stop playing. And I've always said to people too, and I'm gonna just use this on the way out. You take this down. So many people reach out to me and say, G. Bush, how can I get on? G. Bush, how do you get into the radio industry? How is you getting these looks? How is you getting these opportunities? I said, first of all, you gotta have God in your life, man. You ain't got God in your life, man. You got to make sure that, you know what I'm saying? And if you ask God for something, you got to be prepared to follow through with it and put the work in once you say you want something. Because you say you want something all you want. It's more than that. You got to go and get it. So everybody tell me what they can do. First and foremost, that's the first thing I tell them. Second thing I tell them is like this. Don't wait for nobody to give you an opportunity. I tell people all the time, go and do stuff face to face with people. Build a market, build a fan base. And to build a fan base, you got to be consistent. You know, there's times I had a YouTube channel and, you know, I wasn't consistent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting out content. I'm going long stretches. But if you consistent and you go to work and you go and you say, look, if I work 8 hours a day at an office job, which I used to do, or if you work 8 hours a day and you're a teacher, or if you work 8 hours a day, you're a firefighter, or you volunteer somewhere, that's all great. But that's the bare minimum. You only doing that, you're only getting that off as to keep the rent on, the lights on, regular daily living expenses. To get to the level where you looking at the Stephen A's and the Skip Baylesses and all that other stuff, you got to put a lot of days together and keep doing it. But it's possible. And you know why it's possible? Because I'm here. And not saying that I'm here and I'm the greatest. I'm saying use it as an example. It can be done. It can. You just got to be determined to do it. And nowadays, you can cultivate your own fan base. Don't wait for other people to give you nothing. Because in this world, they ain't going to give you nothing. They're not going to wake up one day and say, G. Bush, here's all the money in the world and your job. No. If you don't got a job and nobody won't hire you and you passionate about it, save your coins, get you one of these, get your little board, and talk to air. Maybe the first day you ain't going to get no views. Maybe the third day you don't get none. Hell, you might not get no views for the first 2 years. But guess what? There's so many people out here with no talent that's getting money and no talent that's doing big time things. And you know why they're more successful? It's because they don't got plan Bs. They work hard. An untalented person who works harder than a talented person is going to win every single time. Every single time. It's the long game, not the short game. I'm done preaching. As always, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Just check in with me tomorrow. Ooh. Listen to the Barbershop tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 92.3 The Fan. Guest tomorrow, Quincy Carriers in the building, John Costco, Pro Football Focus, and Jeff Lloyd of the Cleveland Browns Locked On podcast. Obviously, Quincy, people talk about, hey, we gonna do something with Quincy. Oh, we definitely gonna do something this year. Definitely shout out to him, shout out to John Costco, and shout out to Jeff Lloyd. As always, it's your boy G. Bush. You don't never really know when I'm gonna be on, but that's not a problem. Just listen to the Clippers.